This is what happens when you don't do item box for 2 weeks because you're lazy and just want to put it off. More and more news of Sonic Forces, so get ready for another half hour to 45 minutes of us discussing what's come
Yeah,
up.
we got a few to go through,
Yeah.
kids.
First of all, this came out the day after we fucking did the last one. Episode Shadow.
Yeah,
So it's a prequel to how Shadow joined.
well, his involvement in the game.
Yeah. It's like you got some new stages, but a lot of them based on like 10 plus modern Sonic stages. So you basically, hey, you play Shadow in these stages. It basically says, wait, so there's like more than 10 Sonic stages, and they're modern Sonic stages, and there's classic Sonic stages, and Avatar and Tag Team.
Mm.
It's gonna be the biggest Sonic game since ever.
Well, again, it's funny because at this point we don't really know how many levels they're going to actually be in the game, so it's still a bit of a mystery.
Yes, Sega told us that episode Shadow will focus on the mysterious backstory between Shadow and Infinite. Look at the gameplay; it's just modern Sonic, but he has this like little ability to dash through enemies.
It's essentially his light. It's basically a light speed dash, except with Shadow's visual.
Yeah, it's like
Funny.
Shadow's not really. A lot of people complain, it's like, oh, it's just a level design's really shit with Shadow. It's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. The level design doesn't really add much, but then again, it's DLC. The DLC in Sonic Unleashed is basically, hey, it's the old levels but hard mode.
Yes. Well, most of the time it's like here's a level, here's the same old skin, but we just rejig the level a little bit to make it difficult or harder or challenging. That's basically what it is these days.
Pretty much. But the idea of is like Shadow wasn't really that much different from Sonic. In fact, it was just he's Sonic. He's a Dark Sonic. That's it. That's all Shadow is. I mean, it kind of gave him the Chaos attack in Sonic 06, but generally Shadow is Sonic.
Yeah, although this is the first time, I'm right, this is the first time he's been playable in the full game.
Playable in a game that's not a fucking spin-off or mobile game.
Yeah.
But basically, this comes free with a bonus edition, which I think is the only, aside from the standard game, there's also the bonus edition, which comes with the Persona 5 DLC, the Sega DLC, which basically just the Avatar stuff, and
it's
episode
just
Shadow. So we could get some future DLC as well. Hopefully get an episode Metal as well, so people get to play as him again.
Yeah, that could be fun. Again, one of the things that you said before, that we can play Shadow in the Sonic levels of the game. It does make you wonder, it's like, okay, so we've got essentially 2 Sonics, 1 custom character, and now we're getting essentially what is a skin swap of one of the main characters. So it does make you wonder a little bit, does that mean any of the other characters could be playable? Because I was actually chatting to another friend of mine as well. So
Episode Blaze.
Yeah. Again, I know he said, well,
she's probably not in the game anyway. She'll probably get passing mention by either Sonic or Silver. Hopefully not fucking Silver. No disrespect to Silver's fans, but honestly, I do not have no care for that shipping. But,
yeah, whatever.
It'll be interesting to see her involvement. You know, like she appear if she does appear.
Yeah, and like I said, she could be Infinite for all I know. Maybe I don't know, could be still a thing. But like I said,
the tail isn't right.
Yeah, well, again, who's to say that she has to look exactly the same as Infinite? But anyway, it is interesting because, again, I know Sega has said like the side characters are not going to be playable, but for all we know, they're probably lying. I mean, this is how industry works. They say one thing, and it's really just them to keep people off their backs.
Again, I don't know how quick it'll be for people to create a mod loader so you get to play as Knuckles and whatnot.
I'm pretty sure, unless they're doing it themselves.
Guess what? You get to play as Boom Sonic with the Cube Hammer. The Cube Hammer looks fucking great.
Yeah,
it actually look useful.
Yeah, and I'll say a bit more about that. But anyway, let's continue with the news.
Okay, but also, just a few days ago, or at least a week from this posting, we got some new classic Sonic gameplay in Casino Forest. You get it? It's a forest and it's a casino.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah. Well, at least it's a switch up from just a casino level, like in every other Sonic game.
Hey, it's Casino Night Zone. It's called Night Carnival. It's Casino Night. It's Night Casino Night Zone. Shut up.
Yeah.
Ever since Sonic 2, you have to have a casino level.
I know, but at least in this one, the gimmick is supposedly a forest has been literally turned into a gambling place.
It's very much a contrast between like modern development and old ruins.
Yeah, the natural world versus the industrial world.
Yeah, but to me, looking at it visually, it looks like Casino Street from Sonic 4 merged with Silent Forest from Lost World.
Yeah.
That what it looks like. But I'm gonna say the actual sound effects seem to be lifted directly from Sonic Lost World. Luckily, they kept the fucking jump sound right, because I hate the jumping sound in Lost World. It sounds like a pop sound rather than a natural wood.
Mm. Then again, even in Generations, it wasn't the exact same one. It was a slight variation.
Yeah, but at least it sounded much alike, so you didn't really bother. There's the only difference it actually has been in over the years is Sonic CD.
Yeah,
Lost World.
I was going to say
Lost World. That sound effect annoyed me.
Right. I was just going to say, I mean, if anything else, I would say Generations had it more like the CD jump than the classic one that most people know and love.
No, I can tell a difference. It wasn't CD. It wasn't CD.
All right. But again, I would
some of the level design, like looking at the gameplay of classic Sonic in this, it seems very automated for some reason. And some people are pointing out, like, why the hell do you need two speed dash pads next to each other for extra speed? But yeah, that is a good complaint as far as the level design goes. But
I think part of that.
Also, it seems whenever Sonic lands, it seems to automatically run at top speed.
Yeah, he still has his running cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, is there any build up? Because in classic Sonic games, when he bounces down, he doesn't continue going that fast.
I think again, it's the way how they design classic Sonic in this game as well as it in Generations. I think again the fact they're using, like, I know, like, some people point out in the footage for some of the levels, like, they just put boost pads for you to just get over, like, some of the loop-de-loops and stuff. But I think that's because of the way maybe the engine is designed. I don't know, and physics.
Possibly because a lot of people argue, "Oh, Generations got to be better." Well, Generations was built on the Havoc engine. This is the Hedgehog engine 2, which still looks pretty marvelous. Although the animation is a bit crooked.
Well, again,
I'm going to hold that against the game so I'll see better animation.
Yeah, well, again, we'll see later on how the game looks fully. But one thing that somebody else told me about was it did seem very empty, the level. In fact, there wasn't really any enemies that you came across.
No, this could be, again, alpha footage or beta footage.
Probably. I mean, they didn't have
even though about a month away of this recording, 1 month away from the game being released.
Yeah, and I think they did put
say that out loud now. Just realizes, hey, it's close to my birthday as well. Guess what I'm getting?
Yeah. It's not the first time that's happened to you.
No. Although this is on, what was it, November 9th? I can't remember now.
All right.
November 8th.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, is it? Just 4 days earlier.
But yeah, it's funny because, again, the gimmick, like we said, the visual gimmick is obviously a forest being turned into a casino. And I'm interested to see how the modern avatar character is going to be. Like, we see, because again, it kind of looks fairly barren to begin with, and again, maybe that's just like, this is just the front half of it, and then when you get into like the temple, maybe it goes full on, Aztec gambling, type gimmicks they get in there. So it's sort of similar, like, how in Colors, particularly they had like those giant sort of Aztec statues, but they were like covered in lights and whatever. So I'm thinking something like that in the sort of the next two games.
Eggman's trying to recreate Tropical Coast on the planet.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, so again, like I said.
Also, I think just yesterday we had some screenshots of the new chemical plant zone.
Yeah.
In daylight. That's the newest thing. It's in the daylight. It's not nighttime and covered in toxins.
Yeah, although it still looks industrial nightmare, pretty much.
Yeah, and even looking at the details and just the floor and railings, the detail of the Hedgehog Engine 2 shows it off very quickly. Unfortunately, they're all Avatar. I would say unfortunate, but it's all based on the Avatar gameplay.
So far, yeah.
It's like it looks very dusty. Like, even though it's still operational, it's like it hasn't been cleaned in ages.
Yeah, I mean, like we've seen before in some of the levels, we have seen like the idea of Green Hill has been so slowly drained of life and turned into a desert. So I wouldn't be surprised as like the next part of it is like, this is the other industrial part he's taken over, and it's just the relics of that old place.
Yeah, you got some pathways. Like, see, like the big domes, like they were like pristine in Generations. Now they're covered in dirt. You see some what look like egg carriers in the background.
I've said that before. I'm saying those are the egg carriers in the background. I'm pretty sure. So he's mass producing those things now.
Yeah, sort of toxins in. It just looks so I'm just in awe of how good it looks.
The other main thing, of course, is we get to see the drill wisp being used, or at least a snapshot of it, which is essentially like a big sort of, big.
It's just kind of like the forward thrust in most games. Like the best example I can think of is a Devil Stinger from Devil May Cry.
Okay.
It's a kind of big thrust forward. But
Yeah.
It's like more of a wider range.
Mm. And again, I think it'll be used to, like, say, if you want to get to higher platforms, you probably end up using that to sort of like get to secret areas and stuff.
Yeah, right now it just looks like it's being a thrust forward, like a homing attack.
Yeah.
So that looks the drill looks fun. So that's three. That's 4 weapons now. We have
So far we've had the firewall,
the burst fire, the got the cube hammer, the lightning whip, and now we've got the drill dash. I'm just naming these on the top of my head, okay?
Yeah. Although funny enough, on the box art we get to see, what's the purple one called from Colors again?
Oh yeah. There's 5 of them now. We've got the frenzy. We've got the frenzy vacuum.
So I'd be interested to see what they do with that.
Frenzy or void, whichever one.
Yeah, I'm going to say it'll be interesting to see what they do with that one as a weapon.
I think it just sucks them up and spits them back out, kind of like
like a black hole. Yeah.
I think it was the egg launch. It kind of looks like the egg launcher from Shadow the Hedgehog. It sucks stuff up and you fire it back out.
Ah, right, okay.
Or something from Blink the Time Sweeper. I don't know. I did the same thing.
There's a reference to another Sonic Team employee, so there you go.
Yeah. But that's all news currently so far of Sonic Forces. DLC, new level, 2 new levels, and a new weapon to look at. But guess who actually played the damn game? That laugh would actually indicate he's the one who fucking played it.
Yeah, sorry, that would sound too sinister.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I got to, funny enough, after we recorded the last one, I told Dan I was going to head off to EGX in Birmingham at the NEC to play Sonic Forces because they had it there, and why would I want to go?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So if anything else, with all this talk about is the game going to be good, bad, or just another train wreck, well, I can at least have that official say on things, at least.
You have an impression rather than an official say.
Oh, okay, all right.
I would say you have an official impression.
Yes, I do. I can now put in my opinion to everybody else who's got a chance to play it. So, okay, here's the thing. All right, now the leveling questions, the demo we got was basically, it's all the levels that we've seen so far. So we got Park Avenue, Classic Robotnik Fight, Avatar Green Hill, and the tag team gameplay. Those were the main things. So I'll go in that order for anyway. So modern gameplay stuff. For the most part, it played mostly the same as it was in Unleashed, although I did want to stop around and see how Sonic controlled Light when he was just walking around. And the one thing I did notice is that he felt more like how he controlled in Lost World when he was just sort of walking around and stuff, although he does build up to a running pace in this instead of having a button. So I noticed that. The other things I noticed is the target record for the homing attack stuff. They've replaced the sound effect and the visual with the Lost World one, although it plays like, Unleashed Colors and Gen, basically. And also one of the other things they got rid of is you can no longer do the little sort of dash in the air thing, like after you've beat a few enemies. Instead, you've got the slam down, you got the double jump. Well, I call it double jump really. In Colors, it was like you had a jump and a little hop.
Yeah.
Which at first I thought that was kind of a bit of a shame. But then I actually got to a point where I had these breakable platforms to get a red ring. And I actually noticed it was very easy to control during the 2D sections to get Sonic where I wanted him to. So I could be wrong, but it felt much more controllable in those bits than it did in the previous game.
Is it a quick air dash or is it a double jump?
It's essentially a double jump, but like I said, it's not like, 2 big leaps. It's a main jump and a little hop, essentially, you get.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, it's kind of what they did in Colors. So, if anything else, it feels, oddly enough, they're keeping the basic boost mechanic stuff, but they've implemented a bit of Color and a bit of Lost World into this.
It sounds a bit more like Lost World than it does Colors. It's like a little hop in the air, because that's what you did in Lost World.
I know, yeah. So, it is odd, although for the most part, you can play it like Gen was pretty much. And for the most part, it controls well. It didn't bash into enemies. I will say that when I did the first run up at the beginning of the level, I did know Sonic did feel a little bit more. I don't know if I would say heavier, but there was a lot more of a turning took a little bit longer. So I guess there's a bit more weight to him this time when it comes to those sections.
So, but more like Unleashed.
Yeah, so a bit more
Unleashed. The turning was a lot more tighter.
Yeah,
and
so
if it had some more weight, colors, not really. Even though it was used as a gameplay element and then a gameplay control. And Generations was a bit more loose. Lost World was loose.
Yeah, so I would say it's a little heavier and a bit looser, but it don't take it as a bad thing. It does feel a little bit more like maybe they're trying to give the character a bit more, the classic momentum gameplay, I guess you could call it. Although that said, there was the last part of the level in which you get to the minute with Shadow. I did know was when I did boost, like after I ran out of it, Sonic just went back to sort of a basic run cycle, which again, it was essentially just keep holding right and it'll keep going. But it's nothing radically disastrous or anything, so don't worry about that. But for the most part, yeah, it was, it plays like what you expect it to do. I mean, little changes, but I'd be interested to see how they work later on in the game when we get to see the finished thing.
Especially with new levels with its own little gimmicks.
Exactly, yeah. So...
Well, classic Sonic, even though it was just a fight against the Air Dragoon.
Yeah, so classic Sonic, you've seen the footage. It starts off with Eggman with the classic Sonic 1 thing, except they replaced the ball with a circular saw. And he plays pretty much exactly the same as he did in Gen, really, almost the same. The one thing I couldn't get to do was the drop dash. That's one thing they've added, but I didn't know how to do it for whatever reason. I'm probably an idiot, but for the most part, it didn't matter. You do the typical thing, jump, hit, and then you get to the Air Dragoon. And again, actually playing the boss fight, it was pretty fun because, again, he's constantly chucking up debris from the level, and then you use those wrecking ball things to sort of to hit back at him. In fact, one thing I did wonder is how they work, because he does move left to right, and I did wonder, do they sort of home in onto the Dragoon thing or not? And they do. So that was it. And the most part, I did it in one go, and it was good. It was a fun little boss fight. Not too difficult, but I'm guessing it's meant to be the first one in the game. But it was fun. It was a nice little set piece moment.
So what about Avatar? It was like, which weapon did you choose?
Okay, so the Avatar section, things get interesting for various different reasons. When I played the game, one thing I noticed is that they randomized it. So every time you got to play it, it would change to something else. And when I played it, it had what essentially looked like a weasel trying to look like Manic from Sonic Underground.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, so well, I don't know. It's difficult to tell if you can recreate it, but that's the best way of describing it. So play the level, and for the most part, the weapon I got was the burst one, so you could do the continuous sort of jump using the burst whiffs in succession. So I did that, and the flamethrower. For the most part, he definitely controls a lot slight. I would say he's definitely a lot. He takes a bit more to get going, as in if you're wanting momentum based. It's basically he walks when you start off from a stop to a walk. He does take a while to move a little quicker, and even he just slip a bit. And for the most part, it was okay. But when I got to the section where in the level you have like the floating platforms and even the giant robot legs are smashing down, I ended up falling off and dying a lot in that section. I was thinking, what's going on? And I realized his jump distance is way smaller than, say, Sonic's has been. So he sort of has like a little jump and then a little momentum, and that's it. Even if you're pressing forward, he sort of still doesn't go any further than he should. And I felt it was really odd. I kept doing it again and again. And I had to resort to the, I guess, classic gameplay gimmick of, start at the end of, do a run-up, jump at the very edge of the last platform you're on, and then just keep doing that in succession and hope you get to the end, which it did. But it felt so weird doing that. It just felt like that felt very... I know people argued with Sonic 4's basic game is that, his controls too slippery or it's too stiff or blah, blah, blah. But it felt really noticeable when I was playing that level. And... yeah, there's a lot of people out there who I've also talked to and even seen online that people have said the Avatar gameplay could be the big weak link in the game.
But it generally depends on what... because, like you said, the Avatar you're given in a demo is randomized.
I mean, that's the thing as well.
And we do know that each of the animals that are chosen have a different attribute.
Yeah, that's the thing that being told about.
Yeah. So basically, what you're actually playing could never actually be what the game is going to be.
Again, I'm really hope that's true. I know that I said that in the past, and I'm hoping, if you were to say have the bunny character, say they have a longer distant jump, so maybe that was the thing. I was playing a weasel character, maybe they have a shorter jump. But I do remember doing that a few times over and over again just to figure out the best route of doing it. And again, for the most part, when you're going down more or less, you start off going downhill. You can go up and down paths. In fact, when I started off, I actually got the higher path to begin with before heading into the midsection, and then ended up going the lower path. And if you've seen the gameplay vid, one of the things I think Sonic Stadium has talked about that is like you just get a bunch of enemies and you just hold the flamethrower on, you just burn right through the whole buggers. And you just essentially jump, and it's not terrible. I mean, again, there's a bit of fun. You're running. It's like Ratchet and Clank. You're running through enemies with just a big, huge weapon. It's fun, but I do think it is a bit. You could say it's just like pointless. It's pointless putting the enemies there because they almost put no threat into the level.
It's just cannon fodder. So guess what? We got a new one. Burn to win. There you go.
Yeah, so there you go, burn to win. There's a trademark, IB.
Yeah, it's like the same way like all the boost to win. Yeah, you have to press other buttons and just boost in. Hold right to win. Run straight into the fucking motorbug.
Yeah, like I said, there's that. But, again, it's like this was only the Green Hill level, and it was all side-scrolling stuff. This wasn't full 3D, so I have no idea how that's going to play out. But for the most part, it was okay. Then you got basically the dashing for every enemy and dodging projectile things. One thing I did notice, and this happened in the tag team level, was you've seen in the video where you do like the final movement where you tie it around with the grapple hook and then it falls down. I had to press the button. I didn't know which button to press, actually, and it turned out it was the jump button I was meant to use, so I messed up at that point. But for the most part, it was okay. Like I said, I do hope that because of the different abilities, if that really is in the game, if like the characters do have different stats, that means the jumping won't be as bad as the one I played. So I'm hoping that. I've heard a few other people have had a similar issue, but I don't know whether that was because of the role being randomized or whatever, but I'm hoping that isn't going to be the case. But I will say that's the one key issue that I will think people will probably latch onto if on the game's own fault. But for the most part, it wasn't a breaker, but I can definitely see a lot of people getting angry at that.
So basically take it with a grain of salt. Then again, it's a new gimmick. It is the newest thing newest thing to be included outside of the parkour, which, to be honest, wasn't really refined.
Yeah, again, that was kind of a shame, really, because I still think that if they just refine that mechanic into this game, I think it would have worked perfectly. But who knows? Maybe next game.
Maybe a Rider's Fork, and I'm still holding out on that one.
Well, you can always dream. So anyway, tag team level. This was the one I actually found the most interesting because, again, we knew that the main gimmick was that you get to play as modern Sonic and the avatar character. And obviously the level, you can either use Sonic's boost or the avatar whisk weapon. And particularly in this, you can actually choose from the three things. You can choose the fire one, the lightning one, and the cube one. So essentially you could pick and mix whenever you want. So I actually replayed that level a few times to see what they do. The lightning one, like I said, it's like a big, massive whip that you could just fly through enemies and stuff. Fire one's already done. The cube one's the most interesting because when you use it, it freezes enemies in places, and then when you use it again, it turns them into extra rings for you, not just blue rings, actual rings you can keep your counter up. And again, you could do like a basic slam or like a jump and a full body slam down on the ground, so you can do that. What else? And like I said, the whole gimmick is it has also basically the mock speed level section of the game where you just have to press the square button for you just to boost up the pyramid and into the center of it. It's cute. I know a lot of people say it's going to get old the more you replay it, but it's not terrible. It's just like like I said, it's like the mock speed level in 06, except this one works, I would say.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get into the pyramid, and one of the things you do is you get different paths. For instance, one of them is you jump down onto the cogs where you have all the enemies, and you just obliterate them as soon as you do that. Although there's the higher path, which is if you use the lightning one, you can do essentially the like speed dash gimmick, basically. So what you do is you get near it, you do it, you hit an enemy, and then continue onward. So it's kind of the succession of chain of rings, enemies, chain of rings, enemies, as you circle around, do all the fancy gimmick stuff as you do. And that was fun, I will admit. It was kind of fun watching this work, and it's like, as you're speeding along the level, and like you said, it's one of those, you skip huge chapters if you don't want to, grind through enemies. The other part, of course, like as I said, you can jump on cogs, which, defeat enemies, another cog pop stand, you can jump onto that. I did notice there was one extra area you can do, but the cogs were spinning a little faster, so it was a lot harder for you to time your jump to get on that or figure out if that, sometimes it did go up and down, so I did fall off a few times. The one other issue I did have in this level was I noticed that obviously the fact is that you can use the grapple hook, so you can grapple onto different ledges and something. And at the beginning of that level, you boost down, you go off, and you got those flight of rings, or you can use the grapple point. And I tried to do it, but I tried every button. I was like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I found that it was the jump button. So essentially, once it targets on, you use the jump button again to activate it, which I thought was a bit odd, and it kind of reminded me a bit like I think it was Unleashed, where, am I right saying that Unleashed did the similar thing where the target button was the same as the boost button when you were jumping in the air?
Yeah, home and attack were the same as the boost button, yeah.
Right, so that was basically what they did. They just replaced it to the jump.
It sounds like doing a Nintendo, like all the contextual commands are done by the jump button.
I should also mention that we did have...
It sounds like it should have actually been a separate button, like press this one for the grapple, how Unleashed did it with the werehog.
Yeah, which actually brings me on to this big point, which is, as you see in the level, I did wonder, how do you swap between characters? And the way you do it is actually you use their abilities. So Sonic's quick boost, Avatar's hammer or weapon or whatever. And I did a few times, like trying to swap them, and I did end up like boosting off the edge and falling down. I thought like, oh, this is a bit finicky and whatever. And I thought like, I was like, oh, can they just have one button to switch? It's not that difficult.
Like in Heroes.
Like in Heroes. Although ironically, after I played it, this is the ironic thing, I played it, and then I got home, and then this is when Sonic Team announced, oh, by the way, you were going to put one button for it to swap the characters in the level. So I was like, oh, thank God for that. So Good. They fixed that issue, thank God, because I did think the amount of people who are going to die doing that, it's like, please don't mess this up. So they are going to fix that issue. But like I said, for the most part, the level was fun. Like I said, I replayed a few times, tried the different Wisp abilities. And like I said, it was a bit of a laugh, getting to play. And the way it works, obviously, is like when you play as each character, they just pretty much, they're always with you anyway. They just automatically copy, if you jump, they hit an enemy or whatever they may do. I can't remember whether or not when you're hurt, if you're like bashing through some enemies, I don't know whether Sonic's like just homing attacking on his own. I could be wrong, but essentially it's never like the characters are going to get stuck or anything, or they're not going to follow you. So you're fine with that. And there's a few sections as well where when you're going at high speed, you do those massive turnarounds, and either Sonic is doing it or the Avatar does it with the grapple hook. So that happens a few times. So you'd have to worry about you falling off the edge or anything. It does it automatically. But for the most part, yeah, I would say that was the most fun level to have. And I'm really interested to see, how that will come out in the finished game. Like particularly, we have seen some footage of Park Avenue with the Avatar character, so I'll be interested to see how many variations you can do in that, or is it just a one-off level for these characters? I do know this is apparently for the narrative purpose. Apparently in the story-wise, that it's mainly going to be Sonic and the gang and the Avatar character solving the issue, and apparently Classic Sonic is involved, but he's not going to be a huge part of it. In fact, Tails is going to be with him most of the time, which explains the little communication they had in the boss fight with him and Eggman.
So the only reason they included Classic Sonic, what it sounds like, is just because Generations was good.
Probably, but though I think it's going to be like a side plot while the rest of them are figuring out, to stop Eggman's big plan. Maybe Tails and Classic are trying to figure out the other areas that have been infected and maybe figure out what Infinite's up to. So maybe I think that's what they're trying to go for.
Maybe.
Like I said,
again, I still sound by it. Classic Sonic has pretty much no reason to be there other than the fact that, hey, Mania was good and we gotta do it as a sequel. It was the project was originally dubbed Sonic Generations 2. So, yeah.
Yeah, although, like I said, you haven't seen it. Although there is the reason, there may be more of a reason why he's in this because of the MacGuffin, but wait and see on his end for him to finish the game.
Hopefully Jaleel White voices him.
Oh, that'd be a surprise.
That'll be a much a surprise. Because at the end, it gives one line, and it's like,
just make that's cool or something like that. That would get a lot of people
No, a lot of people are
The trousers
excited.
red.
Oh yeah, you did it! I just created myself from nostalgia.
Exactly, yes, a lot of soiled trousers.
If it does happen, I want you all to know that I fucking called it.
Well, we predict it would happen, even though Sega might do it anyway, but who knows. Anyway, but yeah, for the most part, I played that, and while I was there, I also got to play Sonic Mania, which, was fun and good. Yeah, it was interesting playing the two different games, seeing how they worked. I mean, the one thing as well is I didn't get the drop dash to work in that as well, so maybe I'm just too stupid to figure it out or didn't do it right.
Look, it's jump, and when you're in the air, hold the jump button again.
Ah, right, okay, right.
There you go.
Right, okay.
I went all the way up to Lava Reef, and I completely forgot that the drop dash was even in the game.
All right. So
that was 10 zones in.
Right. Good God. So yeah, I mean, like you said, if they'd done it for Classic Sonic Enforcers, then who knows? Maybe that'll make the game even more fun. But we'll wait and see. But summing it up in general, what I've played of the game, like I said, I've kind of said this before in the last video, but one of the things that I've been talking to a few friends of mine, and one of the things, even though we've argued about, some people don't like the Avatar character, some people may think it's the make or break of the game or the tone of it or whatever. I mean, I've even watched Cinemassacres like Let's Talk Gaming with Mike and Ryan. And again, they sort of looked at, Forces on the Switch. Oh, it looks like 06. How gay. Didn't say
Fuck
that. But,
you.
I know. They didn't say it like that, but it was kind of like, oh, God, they're doing this stupid thing again. And like I said, the thing with it is I keep saying to people is like, for as much as this game is, and I don't think it's going to be, it's not a major step in where the series needs to go. I don't think that. It's ultimately, at its best, it's going to be just a fun, entertaining game. But I did say to a lot of people, is like, I mean, I think I did say to them is, you don't think this game is going to be a disaster, or you don't think, because everybody's kind of expecting this to become another train wreck of a game. They just want this to be another 06.
Everyone, because everyone's going to compare it to the best and the fucking worst.
Exactly.
I could put on Twitter several times. I'm saying this every single fucking time.
Yeah. You wait until you play it. Yeah.
Wait until you play it, but also, Mania came out before Forces, and that Mania got rave reviews across the board. So Forces is immediately going to be compared to Mania. It's like, is it good as Mania? Well, obviously not, dickhead. It's not going to be as good because the Sonic Forces doesn't really tickle nostalgia the same way Christian Whitehead and Stealth did.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, if you think about it, really, this whole idea of, let's reuse old levels or zones or whatever, and let's remix the levels as you do. I mean, they've been doing this in Sonic 4 anyway, and, I think really by this point, it's like the latter end before people are just going to get sick of that.
Yeah, and also they're going to immediately compare it to Sonic 06, saying, is it better than this? I don't know. It's been over a decade since it came out.
Yeah. I'll say this, from what I played of the game, I will say from everything that has been shown off, or even I played, for my taste, this is not going to be a technical flawed glitch mess. This is, for the most part, a well-made, thought-out, tech-savvy, 60 frames per second game. In fact, one of the things I noticed is actually how quick the levels load. I was actually surprised how quick they happened, even when they retried.
I think that's directly coming from the actual hardware, the actual system it's on, rather than from a disc.
Probably, although even then, if you look at Lost World, I mean, the loading screens were actually pretty quick in that game anyway.
Loading screens weren't exactly that fast. It was more like 5 seconds at best.
Yeah, but again, it was like they were fairly quick, so it wasn't like you were waiting. It's not like 06, has to load every fucking thing every time you do anything. But for me, like I said, and I want to try and be a little less angry, because I think the last time we did this, I got a bit miffed about the whole thing. But I think at the end of the day is that people, like I said, expectation of the game is going to be what it is. And I think a lot of people are going into this expecting it to be, like I said, a train wreck. They want this to be just another disaster so they can just get up their old arguments, all the old complaints, and, oh, this game was never good, the Sonic team don't know what they're doing, and blah this and blah that. And like I said, I'm bored of it. But I do have this sense of feeling that it's not the game killer people think it's going to be.
No, it's not. Nor is it going to be as good as Generations or even Sonic Adventure 2, which people still.
No, I mean that is the thing it's going to have to face up as is it a worthy follow-up to Generations? In the same way, is Mania worthy as a follow-up to, say, SNK 3, 2, and 1? So for me, I can definitely say that what I played is there is a fun game here. I'm not expecting it to completely change how Sonic plays, but at least I can say that it's a fun, entertaining game. It has one or two nice ideas that hopefully will be even more impressive when the game fully comes out. And like I said, I want this to be a fun, entertaining game. And like one of the things I think they're doing with this one is they're taking the same premise of, we've had the Celebration game, which, had this idea of, history being messed up. Now let's take another chance at that, except this time let's make a full narrative out of this instead of just, a succession of levels with a very thin, loose end to it. So for me, that's what I'm expecting with this game. And to be fair, whenever I play any Sonic games, I go in with almost open expectations to anything. I don't go in immediately thinking it has to be this, this, or this. To me, it's a case of what do you have, what is there, and does it entertain me? That's ultimately what I want. And I think really, and again, I think because Sonic the Hedgehog is an icon in the same way like Mario is, I mean, you look at Odyssey, everybody's gagging over that game. In fact, when I was there was a huge queue for that. I think, weirdly enough, there were more machines to play Forces in the Sega booth than there was Odyssey in the Nintendo booth. So it was kind of surprising with that. Although I will say this, the one Odyssey as well is that they only had the Xbox and PS4 version there. There was no Switch one available. So for all we know, maybe that one's the bad one, but that's another story for other people. But yeah, I mean, again, I just want a fun game. Like I said, I think it's this attitude now that we go into 3D games expect it to be this complete train wreck every time. They're always ambitious, but they always fall on their faces, and we're just there pointing and laughing at it. And I think this one is, there will be stupid stuff in there. There will be things we'll make fun of. There's going to be a plot point or some line or whatever that we're going to take out of context and go, oh, how stupid this whole thing is. But at the end of the day, all that matters, if the game is good, that's what people remember. Even with Mania, at the end of the day, you can argue to death a lot of it is just recycling. In fact, there's a friend of mine who said, are you looking forward to it? And he said, not really. It just looks like Sonic 3, but just slightly more, just reusing old levels anyway. So again, there's some people who enjoy those games. There's some people who enjoy the 3D games as well. So I personally think, at the end of the day, Forces, from my opinion, and like I said, this is just me as someone who's played the demo of it, don't expect the worst. Well, really, what I should say is, you're probably not going to get the best, but you're not going to get the worst thing. And if you're lucky, and if you go with open expectations, you may have a bit of fun.